Hello, my name's Carolyn from All Saints Steadworth, and this is day 20 of the virtual Advent calendar from the churches together in Windsor. The verse today is from Matthew 2 verse 11. As they came to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. I'm going to do a drawing now, and then after that I've got a little talk. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother, and they bowed down and worshipped him.
At the feet of Jesus, the greatness of your mercy and love. At the feet of Jesus, we fall down. Yes, we fall down. We lay our crowns at the feet of Jesus. The greatness of your mercy and love. At the feet of Jesus. And we cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy is the Lamb.
These men had travelled so far. So what had caused them, when they got there, to bow down and worship this baby? They were wise, wealthy, and possibly powerful, the other end of the spectrum completely from the shepherds who'd also worshipped him. And here they were on their faces before this child. I wish I could have seen what they'd seen. Jesus as a baby, as he'd chosen to become. He'd laid aside his glory to become human, but yet the way they behaved shows that they must have seen his glory there. Somehow his majesty and beauty were on display so visibly to those who were the first to see him on the earth, that it drew them all, rich and poor alike, to their knees. Only the presence of God can do that. Jesus, God with us. It reminds me of the image we have in Revelation of the worship that goes on in heaven day and night before God's throne. The elders seated there cast their crowns before Jesus in honour and worship. And also John, who knew Jesus so well from his life on earth. But when he saw him in all his glory, he fell at his feet in awe. The almost unbelievable thing is that we too can have a glimpse of God's glory today, that we can have an encounter with his wonder that draws us to our knees in worship. If we search for him as the wise men did and follow and journey with him, if we put all else aside to find him, if we come and adore him, he promises that we'll find him and be amazed. Thanksgiving leads to praise. Praise leads to beholding him, and beholding him, recognizing his presence, leads to worship. Their response was the only reasonable one. These wise men were lost in wonder, love, and praise. It's our response to seeing him. As Paul writes much later in his letter to the church in Rome, in view of God's love for us, we present ourselves as an offering before him. Some translations say this is our reasonable service. It's our true and proper worship. As the hymn says, were the whole realm of nature mine, that were an offering far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all. When we see him, there are no other options but to bow, to give our all because he's worthy. All of heaven declares it. He's the only one worthy. Let's search for him this Christmas, put time aside to look towards him, to turn our attention to him in worship, in response to beholding him. As we seek him, he promises we will find him, and we will be forever changed by his presence, which he calls us to live in every day. I don't know about you, but I sometimes find that hard with all the busyness of life, and especially in this season. But I want so much to know him and encounter the living one, the hope of the world, that I think as we turn our gaze towards him, he always comes running out to meet us. His love for us is immense. The remarkable thing is that Jesus came to find us, to seek and search for the lost and the strays, the ones who couldn't help themselves. And he comes for us with that same grace today, wherever we are right now. When we realise how much we've been given and who it is who's rescued us, we can't help but bow in awe, as his friend John did, and those who saw him in Bethlehem did. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. But what I can, I give him, give my heart. I pray that this Christmas, maybe more than any other, we will draw near to him, and he will draw near to us, and that we discover afresh that in him is life, and he's truly worthy, and that the place of adoration at his feet is the place we want to dwell. Amen, and Merry Christmas.